Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be something like it's still related to books, but it's definitely different than like recommendations and reading wrap-ups and stuff like that. Basically, I'm going to explain to you guys how I email publishers to request ARCs of books. I know that I had a few people that I know personally like ask me to explain it to them and show them how I do it, so I thought I'd just make it into a video because maybe other people are wondering how to do that. I just want to preface this by saying that a lot of this I got from another like YouTuber, book talker, book Instagram influencer because I didn't really know how to do it either, so I had to go looking. And so I'll put her either in the description or on the screen, like her stuff, but it's at Oh My Name Is Kaylee. So I think it was on TikTok, she had like videos explaining like how she does it, so it is very similar to that, because I did use it to influence how I do it, but I'm just gonna explain that here. But I just want to kind of give her credit because she did kind of come up with this idea that I have kind of developed slightly into my own, but it is still heavily based on hers. So I want to preface that, that I'm not like saying this is all of my idea. Like some of this definitely came from her. So I'm gonna split this video up into probably 3 parts. One part where I just generally explain like how you find the information you need to find out like the email address and like who to actually contact. And then I'm gonna split it into 2 parts of whether you're an influencer who talks about books. Like, I don't like to call myself an influencer because like it's just, I don't know, it sounds kind of like weird because I mean I really just do this for my own like enjoyment, but technically like I have platforms that I use to talk about books, so like I would be considered an influencer in that sense. So I'll make a section for how to kind of structure your email in that way, and then also if you're just generally someone who likes to read but you don't have like platforms that you like talk on, maybe you have like, you know, Goodreads or something that you like do reviews on, but like you don't really have like an Instagram or a, you know, YouTube account or whatever. I also have one that you guys then can use for that. So basically you can just kind of skip to where you need to be in the video for what you like, what's gonna best benefit you. So yeah, I think that's like all you need to like know going into the video. But yeah, that's what I have planned for you guys today. I hope you enjoy, and let's get into the video. Okay, so the first thing you kind of need to do when you want to figure out how to, you know, email a publisher and, you know, ask for an ARC is you have to figure out, okay, what book, and then you have to go on to, personally I think Goodreads is the best way to find the information. But basically you go onto Goodreads and you type in the name and you go there, like you go to the book, go to book like info, and you look at the publisher. I will do like a voiceover like screen recording right after this to kind of show you exactly what I'm talking about. But once you have that, then you put it into like a web browser and go from there. So like I said, I'm gonna like cut over into me showing you how to find that information on Goodreads now. Okay, now that you are on Goodreads, you will go to the search bar and you will type in the book that you are requesting an ARC for. You'll click on it, and then from there you will scroll down to the thing that says book details. You'll click on book details and you will look for where it says publisher. So for this book, it's Simon & Schuster UK. That will be what you will use in the next step. Okay, now that you have gone onto Goodreads and found the publisher that you need to look up, you will go into like Google and you will put that publisher's name, and then after it you will put oh my goodness. I have recorded this 3 or 4 times and I still can't say this word. Publicity contacts. And basically the first link should be the one that pops up, but sometimes it's not, because, you know, sometimes you look stuff up on Google and like you could literally type in exactly what you want, it'll be like the 3rd or 4th thing down. So sometimes you have to scroll and look for the right one, but I won't lie, sometimes it's hard to find it. Even for some of the ones that I've requested, I haven't been able to find it like immediately. You kind of have to do some digging and searching. But even if you email like the wrong person, a lot of times they will respond back and be like, oh, forward this email to this person, this is who you're looking for, or whatever. They're pretty helpful. But generally people who are in like, you know, publicity, or like, what was the other word that I saw a lot? Sometimes they use like influencer type, like they have people you email if you're an influencer, but you'll kind of see who they list as contacts with emails, and you'll kind of be able to figure out which one's the best for this. Again, just remember you're emailing someone about an ARC. So I don't know. Some of them are harder to find than others, I won't lie. Even though, like, they're common, you know, publishers, sometimes just finding the information was difficult. So that one is a little bit harder to explain, but you just kind of have to do the digging for it, and that's like the main part of like doing the work to email a publisher, honestly, is finding their contact information. But then once you do have their contact information and you have the email, then put the email, you know, address into an email, and then make sure, no matter if you're an influencer or a non-influencer, you know, emailing about an arc, make sure in the subject line that you specify that you want an arc, and specifically the book title and the author. So like when I asked for the arc of, you know, Wildfire by Hannah Grace, I said that I was requesting an arc for Wildfire by Hannah Grace. So you have arc in there, they know that that's what you're talking about. They know the book and the author that they need to be looking for when reading the email and deciding if you're getting it or not. So that's, oh, also, make sure that you email about 2 to 3 months before the release date. You don't want to email like 6 months in advance, because then like they might forget about you, and like it's just maybe a little less likely if you email too far in advance. But you also don't want to email too late, because they might have already sent arcs out and might not send any more out. So I always say like 2 to 3 months before the release date is probably best, because that's when they start to kind of like figure out who and when they're sending out arcs. Or if you see someone who's like, oh, I received an arc, then send the email. But sometimes like you don't see that stuff until later, so just, you know, 2 to 3 months, or if you see someone saying that they're receiving arcs, then start emailing the publishers about it. So that's, I think, it for like the big, you know, like no matter if you're an influencer or not, do this. Now I'm going to go into the if you're an influencer. So if you aren't an influencer, maybe I'll have the like chapter things up, just skip over to the non-influencer part, and that one will be more helpful to you. Okay, so as you all know, I always use my iPad, so if I'm looking down, it's just to make sure that I hit all the notes I need to hit. But basically, when you structure this email, you're going to kind of have a few paragraphs. So you're going to start out just by, you know, saying like hello, you know, good afternoon, whatever you start your emails out with. And then your first like little paragraph is you're going to talk about your platform and like who you are and all of that. So it doesn't have to be that detailed. You're just going to kind of be like, you know, my name is this, and I have, like for me, it'd be like, my name is Paige, I have a YouTube account and a Bookstagram. Put your handles, like, you know, if I was saying I have a YouTube account, parentheses handle, and a Bookstagram account, parentheses handle, just that they can easily, if they want, go look at that. And then basically just explain like, I would really appreciate if you would send me an arc so that I could review it for, you know, my subscribers or my viewers or my followers or whatever. And then also restate again that you want an arc, the title, the author, and sometimes even putting the release date is helpful. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like a hiccup burp thing. I don't even know. I'm so sorry. But I don't know. A lot of times just having as much information as you can about the book so that they don't have to go do the digging, because I mean, I'm sorry. How, like, if you're, you know, emailing like, you know, Simon and Schuster, how many books are they releasing? Like, they are such a big publishing company that like they're not going to know off the top of their head. So that's why I say sometimes putting the release date also is helpful for them. But basically that first paragraph is just kind of about you, but like also kind of slightly about your platform, but like don't go too detailed into it, because then when you get to the second paragraph, that's when you go into the more specifics about your platform. So the second one, you can kind of be like, you know, I'm using me as an example just because it's easier to explain, but I have a YouTube account and a Bookstagram account. So, you know, I explain, again, these are the handles. This is how many subscribers I have on YouTube. This is how many followers I have on Instagram. If you're someone who actually has like a lot of followers or viewers, or subscribers, whatever you want to call them, and you have like a lot of other data that would be very convincing, like I get a lot of views, I get a lot of likes, like things like that, you also want to include those. Even if you don't get a lot, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying like, oh, I have 20 subscribers and I get like 30 views on my videos. Like, that's still 30 other people that you could be reaching with that book. So I would definitely say, even if you feel like, oh, I don't have enough, still put it, because I definitely didn't think I had enough, and look at me, I got that arc by Hannah Grace. So I promise, you may be like, I don't have enough, I shouldn't talk about it. Just talk about it. It's okay. You're trying to sell yourself to this, you know, publisher. But yeah, just put that information. Like I said, if you're someone who's like a big influencer, like you actually have like a ton of traction and like outreach. It's possible authors send you stuff without you even really having to ask, but if you don't, and that's why you're trying to kind of figure out how to email publishers, I don't know, I'd say like have your subscriber count, have your view count. I also talk about like my channel growth, like, oh, I tend to get this many new subscribers a month or whatever. I don't know, just anything that you feel like really shows that like you're good at what you do. I don't know. That's just kind of what I talk about in the second paragraph. Is again, it's kind of like you selling yourself. But then the third paragraph is where you go in to explain more on why you want the ARC. So instead of being like, here's why you should send me the ARC because of the way it's going to reach out to people, you talk about why you should be sent the ARC because you as a reader want it. Generally, when you're writing about yourself, if it's like, for example, when I asked for Wildfire, I was explaining how much I enjoyed Icebreaker and how I've been looking forward to Wildfire and how, you know, I rated it this. Like, if you rated it low, don't talk about your rating. But if you rated it really high, do include that because then they'll be like, okay, well, they really liked the first book. There's a very good chance that they would like the second book. And you can be honest, like, I'm pretty sure I rated it Icebreaker a 4 out of 5, or maybe it was a 4.5, I'm not sure. You know, I put in there that I rated it a 4 out of 5 or a 4.5. I didn't say it was a 5 out of 5 and I still received it. Like, because 4s are still good. Like, some people I generally think feel like if it's not a 5-star, it's not good. Like, that's just not true. Like, even 3-star books are still, like, fine. So yeah, I would say put your rating in if it was good. I'd say if it's lower than 3.5 though, don't, just because some authors see 3s as bad. Some don't, it just kind of depends. But I would say if you rated it 3.5 or higher, put it. But yeah, it's basically just you being like, I loved the first book, I want the second book, or I love the author, I want this book. Like, I know I'm going to try to get an ARC of Dishonestly Yours by Krista and Becca Ritchie when, you know, that date gets closer. Obviously, it's the first book in a new series. Haven't read another book in that series, so I can't be like, oh, I love the first one, but I will talk about how much I love the Addicted Calloway Sister series universe and how much I love the authors and how excited I would be if I could receive this and blah, 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 blah. So you just kind of have to figure out per book, like, what's gonna fit best. And normally it's easier, obviously, if it's a sequel or something, so you can talk about the first or second or whatever, however many books before. But obviously sometimes that's just not going to happen because sometimes it's a standalone or the first in a series, like I said. So just explaining why you want it. But for your fourth paragraph, that's where you want to put like the handles and things for like where you're going to review. So again, restate YouTube, Bookstagram, TikTok, wherever platform like that you're going to review on. But also if you're going to review on Goodreads or Amazon or any other, you know, platform that you can put book reviews on, because the more places you're willing to put book reviews on, I feel like, in a sense, the more likely you'll be sent it. Because if you're like, I'll put it on this and this and this and this, it's like, oh, okay, well, a lot of people will get to see that this person really liked it and whatever. But, you know, obviously, if you don't do reviews on Amazon, don't just say you are and then don't. Like, you know, be honest. It's like, it's okay if you only review on Goodreads. It's still a very high, like, what's the word, like, very well visited site. Like, there's a specific word but I can't think of it, but basically a lot of people go on there and look at the reviews for books, so I think even if you literally put Goodreads as the only one, I still think you have a chance. So don't be like freaked out if you're like, well, I only do Goodreads, oh no, I'm not gonna get it. Like, it's okay. And then your fifth paragraph is probably ironically the most important paragraph. Put your address. Put your name, your address, all of that information that you would need to write on a package to send to somebody. Because sometimes, as I learned from Oh My Name is Kaylee, and just in general from seeing other people talk about it, if they have your address, sometimes they see the subject line, which is why it's so important to put that information in the subject line. They'll see that, they'll see you have an address, they'll just send you it. Sometimes they don't even read your whole email. So I know you'll put a lot of, you know, time and effort into the email, but sometimes they won't look at it, and most of the time they will not respond to you. Like, I'll be honest, I had emailed Red Tower Publishing for a arc of Iron Flame, and like a while back, probably because it's almost the release date, so probably 2 to 3 months ago. And they responded to me like 2 or 3 weeks later, and I was literally like, well, that's weird, because I never got an email back from Simon & Schuster, but then when I received Wildfire in the mail, I was like, what? But, you know, they basically emailed back and said, like, we don't have plans for ARCs right now, so, like, you know, thank you for being interested, but we're not really gonna do ARCs, or we're not doing ARCs yet, or whatever. So, sometimes you get emails back, sometimes you don't, it just kind of depends, but don't be, like, discouraged if it's like, okay, the release date is in 2 months, and I emailed like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I still haven't heard anything back. Like, that doesn't mean that you're not getting something. I mean, it also doesn't mean you are, but it doesn't mean you're not. So, just, like, keep that in mind. But the address is the most important, I would say, because, like I said, they have that, they can just send it to you, it's not that hard. I would say, like, if you're a college student like me, where maybe you're not at home all the time, but your address may change frequently because, like, you're in a dorm and then maybe you move to an apartment, or maybe you move to another dorm. I would say put your more permanent address, because it hasn't happened to me, but I have seen people talk about it where they've sent, like, you know, let's say Simon & Schuster an email about wanting an ARC with their address in it, and they started receiving other ARCs that they didn't necessarily ask for because their email and their address was in the system. So I would just say maybe have, like, one of your more permanent addresses be the address you use, but I mean, that's totally up to you. I am not here to say you can or can't use your less permanent address. Do whatever you want, but that would just be my advice. And then your 6th paragraph is literally just your sign off. So I say, like, thank you for your consideration, or thank you for, you know, your time, like, things like that, just if they do end up reading the whole email, because, like, if someone does actually read that whole email, like, that is a lot. So, like, thank you for actually, like, considering and thinking and reading and all of that. And then your name. So, and some people I know put their handles again after their name. I feel like you've put it enough in the email, you don't need it there at the end, but that's up to you. If you feel more comfortable doing that, that's fine as well. But that's pretty much it for that email. Obviously, like I said, if you can think of something that you're like, oh, I think this should be in the email, add it. I mean, I don't want to say you can't overdo it, you probably could, but, like, I don't know. Maybe the longer it is, the less they'll look and they'll just go to an address. I don't know. I don't know how they work over there, but I believe that as long as you put the bare minimum in and you have the address there, you have a chance of getting it. Obviously, if it's a very popular book that a lot of people want, there may or may not be, unfortunately, the less likely chance if you're a smaller platform like me. But, like, I didn't think I'd get Wildfire, and here it is, and I know I keep talking about it, but it's the first ARC I received. I'm probably never gonna shut up about it. So, yeah, that is, the email platform and, like, format that I use for asking for ARCs from publishers. So now I'm going to transition into if you are someone who wants ARCs but don't have, like, an influencer platform. So if that's you, then continue watching. If it's not you and you're not needing that, because most of the information will be repeated just with certain stuff taken out, then you guys can be finished and either click off the video if you want, or you can go to my, you know, outro, whatever's fine with you. If you do click off now, hope you have a great day, but if you continue watching, I will wish you another great day later in the video. Okay, so if you're watching this part of the video, you are not an influencer, but you still want to ask for ARCs of books, or maybe you are an influencer, but you don't use it for books. Either way, you're here for that reason. So your first paragraph will be very different from, well, okay, your first paragraph won't be that different. You'll kind of explain, like, who you are and why you want the book. And your second paragraph is kind of similar to, where you kind of explain more in depth on why you want the book. So, you know, I want the book because I read the first one, or I want the book because I like the author, or, you know, it's a new author you've never read before and the book just seems super intriguing. You know, something that makes you kind of stand out, not just being like, I just want the book and then hitting send. Like, explain why you want it. You can either combine your first and second to be just one big paragraph. So if you do that, then this would be your second paragraph. If not, and you separate them, then this would be your third paragraph, so it just kind of depends on how you feel best formatting it. But then you want to talk about where you would review the books, because if they're going to send you an ARC, they are going to probably want you to review it. And again, you don't have to have a YouTube channel for that, or a Bookstagram, or a TikTok, or whatever. Simply just having something like Amazon or Goodreads, or anywhere where you can literally review the book. So just putting your handle down to say, hey, this is where I will do the review once I'm finished reading the book. It's pretty important. They like seeing that, knowing that it's actually going to get reviewed, which is part of how they promote their books and stuff like that. And again, depending on how you format it, this next one will either be your third paragraph or your fourth paragraph, I think. Oh dear, I've already lost track. No, maybe it's your second and no, your third or fourth. Yeah, your third or fourth. Anyways, the next part of your email, you want to put your address. Your address is your most important thing to put in this email, because simply they can look at the subject line and say, okay, they're requesting an ARC for this book. Great. Oh, they also have their address here. I don't even have to read the email. I can just send the book. Now, I'm not saying don't put effort into the email, because there might be some people who generally do read the email, and if it's not great, maybe they don't send it to you. But I would definitely say put your address. Worst comes to worst, you don't get it, but hey, maybe you do. Like, then they don't have to email you back and be like, yes, we've accepted you as a participant to get an ARC. Can we have your address? Like, it's just less likely. If you just put it in there in the first email, it's so much more likely you'll get it. And then your next section of the email, because I don't even know what number we're on, is just basically where you'll sign off and say, you know, thank you for your consideration, or thank you for your time and understanding, whatever it is that you want to sign off with, and then your name. And that's pretty much it. If you did watch the influencer one, even though you aren't an influencer, you can tell that that one's much more in depth than this one. I feel like when you don't have to talk about your channels and your accounts and things like that, you just talk about why you want the book and then your address. I mean, it doesn't have to be that long of an email for it to be effective. Just, you know, have the emotion of I'm excited, or I like the author, or whatever. And I feel like you'll have a good chance of getting it. Also, like I said, I can't guarantee you that by sending that email you're gonna get it. Like, I got lucky on one, but I didn't get the other one because they didn't end up doing ARCs. But even if they did, I still highly doubt I would have gotten one. So I just say you gotta, you know, pick what books you want and email. And don't get discouraged if the first one you do, you don't get. I got lucky. I definitely could have been discouraged if I would have not gotten that. I say keep trying. If you don't get it on the first try, try a second time. If you don't get it on the second time, keep trying. Like, at some point, something's probably gonna click. So, yeah. Okay, so that was my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, I got a lot of this from Oh My Name is Kaylee on YouTube and TikTok. I just want to preface that I do not want anybody in my comments to be like, this is really similar to that. Yeah, I know. That's where I got a lot of this from, because I didn't know what to do when I was requesting an ARC, and she was amazing and helped. Like I said, please, like, go watch her, subscribe to her. She is amazing. And yeah, if you have any more questions or anything that I said that maybe was confusing, you can comment those down below. I'd be more than happy to answer your guys' questions. I don't really know how to make a part 2 to this video, but I mean, if you guys like need a part 2 for whatever reason on something, again, just comment those down below. Any video ideas, comment those down below. My next video will likely be my November TBR, which, how is it already almost the end of October? I literally don't understand. I swear October just started. I won't lie, I'm a little concerned about my reading wrap up and the number of books for the month. I've been very, very busy this month. Like, I almost didn't get this video out because I, like, had no time to film this week. So that was a little nerve-wracking, but I am trying. I will try to at least get a reading wrap-up out around the end of October or beginning of November, as well. But, you know, sometimes it has to go a little bit longer just because school is a lot. So just bear with me, but I appreciate you all. Hope you all are having a great day, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.